Welcome back to Melodic Memories of Lights Monarch. I'm Casey, and I hope you all had an amazing week last week. I know I sure did, at least since Friday for sure. Earlier in the week, I did end up having a trip, which I will get to by the end of this episode, but first, I need to talk about what came out on Friday. And on Friday, well, we finally got the album. Vindicate by Black Veil Brides is finally out. Yes, May 8th has come and passed, and we finally got the album. It has been a long time coming, ever since they initially teased it with that photo of the book, the lyric book that Andy writes in, to us getting Bleeders, them signing with Spine Farm, and everything that has followed since, everything that they've been able to do, all the tours they've been on, and all of the singles that they have released has led up to this moment. And that's not to even forget about the music videos, because this album has a music video for every single song, which reminds me of Clancy. Clancy by 21 Pilots had done the exact same thing, and Black Veil this time around decided to do, well, a music video for every song. Not all of them are as massive of an undertaking as something like Bleeders or Certainty for those kinds of styles of videos, but Joshua Schultz was able to help them out and record music videos for all of the songs that didn't have them. Granted, the only ones that don't have official music videos, as in videos of the band, if you will, or some other sort of concept, would be the lyric videos from Invocation to the Muse and Eschaton, the very first track and the final track, and there is a thematic reason. So, in my opinion, I love the album. I don't even need to ramble for as long as I'm about to, but I have some thoughts, and I wanted to share them. This only happens once every so often. Like, again, we waited since 2021 to get this album. I know they haven't released nothing since. Obviously, we've gotten EPs, singles, I understand. But full-length LP, a full album, this is the first time since 2021 with The Phantom Tomorrow. So, it's been a very, very long time coming. And one of the best things here for the band themselves, and for us as fans, not gonna lie, it actually is now, Vindicate the album, is now Black Veil Brides' highest rated album of all time. Their highest rated album. It actually currently, as I'm recording this, has a critic score of 83 and a user score of 73 on albumoftheyear.org. I don't usually go on there, but I seen the post and I wanted to check it to make sure that what I'm saying right now is the current stat, and that is the current stat of what I seen. And in my opinion, this album being their highest rated makes so much sense. Be it from the themes that they tackle in this album, the absolute honesty that this album has, and authenticity that this album has for this band, and in a way that truly I believe only this band, Black Veil Brides, could have made this type of album, with the message that this album sends and everything that it has to say, because it is so very specific to every detail of these guys. Especially Andy, especially Jake, like the whole entire band, especially them, is what I'm trying to say. Like, only they could write these songs. I truly believe that. And no, I don't mean that nobody could ever make music like it, but for the content that this music holds, it's literally right from their diary, for better or for worse. Like, in my opinion, it's for the better, but I'm saying, like, in terms of how personal it is, it would be like from one's diary. But all that aside, I know I'm rambling a bit and I don't mean to. I have a lot of thoughts and I did manage to write them out, so I will be reading them off here before I really, dive in to everything else that I wanted to talk about. But just a few things before I really go in deep. I wanted to mention, alongside it being their highest rated album, it is also number 1 on the metal genre on iTunes, as well as a peak of number 8 in the all genres tab on iTunes, Canadian iTunes, mind you, And that was the peak that I seen. I haven't really kept a close eye on it, so I haven't been able to see if it went higher or if it has fallen further. I don't know, but it is awesome as a Black Veil fan that has checked the charts every time an album comes out and always hopes that they will get to number one. And they finally did, with the metal genre at least. And in the whole genre, like all genres included, a peak of number 8, honestly, to me, is a win. Because this band always gets shit on. This band always gets overlooked. You know how underrated Black Veil Brides is? You say their name and people turn up their nose instantly, just on name alone, because of predetermined notions that they think that this band is when they aren't. You know what I mean? And I know the fans listening will understand exactly what I mean because they've been through it. They've stood up for this band. They've loved their music as their art has helped them through the hardest moments for a lot of fans. And this album is like, honestly, kind of a love letter to us. Like, I know its themes aren't necessarily that, but at the same time, the message that is held within this album that Andy is able to convey alongside the lyrics and the instrumentals from the rest of the members, like, it is literally a message directly to us from their past experiences. They're telling us their story and how to live, more or less. But again, I've got it all written out here. I just wanted to mention that quickly. And also, Sunrise Records, the place that I work for the record store, I was able to share this album with a couple people. Now, we didn't get the album in on CD or vinyl, unfortunately. Not like nothing. It's not even in our system still, which really, really sucks. But I was working the Friday and the Saturday, so I was able to actually show people the album. I had it playing pretty well on repeat. I just pressed play on the album with all of the bonus tracks, mind you. I did end up getting every single one. The Bleeders cinematic version alongside Thank You for the Venom from the early pre-orders, and then the bonus track from the streaming Death of Seasons, and then the Black Number 1 bonus track, which is exclusive to their iTunes as well as their own web store. If you want it like a WAV file, buy it from their web store. I did both because I didn't realize that I could buy it from their web store, but hey, it's available for this week only. Go pick it up. Their cover of that song, amazing. I loved it. Like, I didn't know what to expect, the vibe it gives and everything. I don't know the original, mind you, but the cover that they did, I think, is really well done. And again, take it with a grain of salt. It's from someone that doesn't know the original, but from a Black Veil fan perspective, if you are one listening to this, I could imagine you are, I would very highly recommend going to buy that off their web store rather than the iTunes, because it is more versatile and you can use that that WAV file on pretty much anything rather than it being stuck to iTunes. But I got off on a little tangent there. At Sunrise Records, I was able to help a couple of people out, and as they were looking around, I seen them bopping and vibing to the album. And while they were doing so, I just kind of walked up to them like, hey, you like the music? And just shared, yeah, it's a brand new album from Black Veil Brides. And I actually got a few people that knew who they were and were shocked. Like, one guy was buying an album and I was like, yeah, it's the new Black Veil Brides album. And he looked at me like, what? Really? Black Veil Brides? And I'm like, yeah, dude, this is them. And this is what I mean. Firsthand, people judging them before knowing them. Or maybe their past stuff wasn't up to their tastes. Regardless, I don't really care. But what I'm trying to say is that this album is hitting people. It is reaching further than any of their past works. And that, as a fan and just someone that holds so much love for this band and their music, makes me so happy. But I'm gonna hold back the tears I feel welling up in my eyes just thinking about it, and move on to my, well, I guess review. I could say it's a review. Judging on the title, it'll probably say review, so I guess that's what I'll go with. It's definitely just something that I wrote down as I've listened to the album over the past weekend. and just something I wanted to share because, again, this album is something that I am currently and probably will be for the foreseeable future absolutely in love with. And before I really get into it, I also want to say thank you, Black Veil. Black Veil Brides, as the band, every single member, thank you for creating what you created, and also for everyone else involved in the process, because this is a passion project and it shows. It is the most authentic work Black Veil has ever done, and I am so proud. So proud. But again, let's get into my proper review. This album, which I now actually currently have 11 versions of, which is honestly insane, but besides the point, I might actually end up having 13 at some point, but we'll see. I have 11 different versions of this album, but what do I even say that I haven't said before? What a damned album! It has a very clear and definitive message which is sewn so very intricately through each and every track. I can say that I wholeheartedly loved the experience of this album. Everything. It left me with tears throughout, and the absolute joy of thrashing about to the heavier elements and overall tracks was the perfect balance of the two. The emotional impact this record holds and the overall message, it feels like a Black Veil Brides musical. And I mean that all in the best of ways. The best part of this record is the authenticity on display. The absolute drive and ambition to focus an album on a theme or a concept of vindication and what it can feel like to be overtaken by the anger and the pain of constant oversight and insult. The message at the beginning, to take the anger and negativity and use it to overcome anything and not allow anyone to forget you. To be ruthless and unforgiving, to then, by the end, this character, quote-unquote, being the listener themselves, like you, realizes that it's best to continue life and not dwell upon it. Andy literally telling all of us that to just keep on fighting. Keep fighting on, life is never won. Literally, lyrics from Eschaton is just so powerful. It's even more impactful when looking at the trajectory and career of Black Veil and the scrutiny, criticism, and overall hate that they received throughout their entire career, which in turn fueled them. Not just that, but Andy himself, and growing up with those feelings and struggles, using it all to pave the path for Black Veil Brides' existence, and to then, as a band, create an album surrounded by said subject matter of their own history. Who better to tell such a story and give the listener such a message as its authenticity reigns true? Not only the overall message was heartwarming and inspiring, but the way the story was told and the intricacies of the lyrics, in hand with the instrumentals of course, was on a new level in which Black Veil had yet to quite hit. It's wild to say that in my experience, as The Phantom Tomorrow, their previous album, which again was a concept record that crafted an in-depth, gritty comic book-esque world that grappled with its own themes in a world created, whereas this album is not that. It isn't a concept record, and yet it still feels as though a story is being told and weaved together piece by piece within each song. For example, the lyrics in Bleeders, mentioning the demons, quote-unquote, and then in Woe and Pain, the demons sing, like that kind of connection that more than just that song has. And of course, the self-realization of knowing that even if things don't get better, even though they're always hard and the road is treacherous, it's time to let go and begin again, as living life to win isn't living life to begin with. Use the vindication to push yourself, yes, but not to prove to anyone else, but only to yourself, and live how you want to. I love this album and I love this band. This album is most certainly their most refined and overall best work yet, and as a band and even as individual artists, it is top tier. Also, their heaviest, of course. They had a goal and set out to do it, and I can most certainly say that they achieved it. They achieved said goal and crushed it even more so. I hope everyone that is into heavier music, and music especially with a message, gives this album a chance. It deserves your time and is now my top contender, to no surprise, for Album of the Year. I hope it wins some awards and crushes some records for Black Veil, and I will continue to listen as much as I can, of course, in hopes that I can maybe help make that difference, but I would have to say this album for me is 10 out of 10 across the board, and I am so very happy with everything that this album is filled with, from very start to very finish. I did not expect it to start the way it did, and the way that it ended, I was left in tears throughout the entire thing. The entire album, I found myself crying, I found myself grinning ear to ear, I found myself thrashing about. Like, this album brought so much out of me. And it deserves your time. It deserves everyone's time. Like, I know, again, I speak with bias, of course, but just as a music lover and somebody that loves things with a proper message and that has actual nuance to it, I would say this album deserves your time. And I hope everyone else listening to the album did really enjoy it as much as I had. I know it's a different turn for Black Veil. It still is Black Veil at the end of the day. It has a lot of what makes them them, more than ever before, truly. As again, I do believe this is their most authentic album. And I love that they were honest and open and upfront about that fact when this album started. The very beginning of this album cycle, they did not hesitate to let us know this is the most Black Veil thing that they will ever have released up to this point. And it makes me excited for the future. Not to be the guy of, oh, when's, whatever's next. What's next? What's next? That's not what I'm saying at all. Let it cook. Like, sit here with this album. Digest it. Actually understand and begin to understand what is being said. And I personally think that it makes me more excited for the future, not because I'm wanting more yet. Like, believe me, I'm full. Let me digest. But when it comes to the future, is what I'm trying to say, that it's exciting to know that if they're allowed this opportunity with this album, it's just going to grow. They're going to continue doing the things that they want to, doing things that the label won't stop them from doing. Like, literally, this label, their own words, Black Veil's own words, had said this album is the most love they've ever felt from a label ever in their career. And that's crazy for a band that has been together this long. You would think that by now, or at least before this, that there would have been a certain label that promised them a lot, that would have done great for them. If you need a little hint, look at the label that's on the back of the Phantom Tomorrow record, just saying. It's just unfortunate that they never got this chance, and I'm so glad that they finally have. And I can't say that this record is my favorite of theirs. I don't know yet. This band is far too near and dear to my heart to really be able to pick and choose of, yes, this is instantly everything. But even with saying that, I do have to admit, it has bits and pieces of what I love from the Morning EP. That is my favorite piece of work they've ever done. I do believe it is the very best that they have ever done. Completely across the board, best work they've ever put out. And that's what I've said about The Morning. The Morning might just be my favorite now. I do need to go back and listen to not only Vindicate. Well, I can't even say that I've been listening to it nonstop, but I do need to go back in their history and re-listen to everything just to kind of see how it fits alongside all of it. Because yes, I had Black Veil on repeat for quite a while. Here and there, I have my playlist. It has everything they've ever released, and again, even some extra tracks that aren't on streaming just because I imported them to my phone. In saying that, I need to see how Vindicate really fits alongside everything, and how I feel about it when I get to the end of that playlist right before Invocation to the Muse starts, to really digest and fuel myself to really understand, how I want to rank this album personally. I do believe, again, it's their best work, and it very well might become my favorite record of theirs. But until that time comes, I will refrain from saying so. Just know the album is most certainly top tier, and if you listened to Black Veil in the past and somehow didn't enjoy it, give this album a shot, especially if you're into heavier music. Again, heavier music with a message, this is the album for you. Now, to kind of move on past my review, quote-unquote, there, I wanted to talk about my experience with the whole entire Veeps live stream. And, of course, the cut music video as a whole, as I know that kind of got cut from the Veeps live stream and released the very next day. But with the Veeps live stream, it was really cool to experience the album in a visual format. And even though I will have to admit, and I even talked to Crystal, she is a Black Veil fan as well, and while watching the Veeps, she had a very similar experience. It seemed like some of the audio was maybe a little bit off. Like, not wrong, not bad, but off. Don't know how to explain it, but she understood because she had a similar experience. So if anyone understands as well that is listening, I guess it wasn't just me. Good to know. But when listening to the album actually off of Veeps on Spotify and whatnot, it sounds perfect. Like, there's no grievances. I really have nothing wrong to say at all with this music video, with this album. As for the cut music video, though, I loved it. I loved that it was kind of a Corpse Bride-esque thing. As well, Juliet still looks fantastic in her wedding dress, and yes, that is the same wedding dress that she wore when she was married to Andy Bierzak. And I will admit, the music video specifically for Cut, and I'm not going to talk about any of the others that Joshua Schultz did end up recording, but for Cut, that is the sweetest, most gothic, most like heartwarming. It made me cry. The way Andy looks at her, excuse me? Talk about like a Disney prince looking at a Disney princess. Like, that's the vibe. That is just the love. They have so much love for each other, and it makes my heart just feel so full. Like, and it was captured. It was captured in that video. You can see it in their eyes, especially Andy's when he's looking down at her. I could go on. I'm not going to, but it was just very heartwarming. And if you're a fan of those two, both Lilith Czar and Andy, Black Veil in general, you're going to you're going to love the video. You're going to very much love it. So I really, really liked it. I listened to the entire album itself like 3 times on the release day because obviously the Veeps live stream I listened to once that night prior. And then later that day when I got home from work, I ended up listening to it again, but with cut added because the music video was out at that point. And then that night at 10 p.m. for me, when the album actually dropped on streaming services, I listened to it then for the 3rd time for the very first time, the bonus tracks, because it had the bonus track on there, and then I downloaded the ones from the web store that I had ordered back in like a couple months ago, or at least back when the album was announced, for Thank You for the Venom, and of course the Cinematic Bleeders, and the iTunes Black number 1, since I already bought it on there prior to buying it on my computer. But all the same, I imported those all to my phone, listened to all of them complete together, and I had to have them all, because if I didn't have them all, 1, as a fan, I'd feel like I'm doing a disservice, and for 2, I wanted everyone hearing it in Sunrise Records to understand everything. All of it. Hear all of it. I know the bonus tracks don't matter, quote unquote, like they're really good. I do enjoy them quite a lot. Do they matter for the album? Do they make or break it? Fuck no. Not at all. You don't need them at all. So if you are missing out and you don't have them, you can't afford them, whatever it be, don't stress. I've seen them reposted on YouTube. No, I don't want to tell people to go listen to them on there. I would rather you support the artists. Like with Black Number One, please go buy it if you can. But for the Thank You for the Venom, that doesn't exist anymore. You can't get that. So there are ways. YouTube, I've seen it there. I remember in the past listening to things on YouTube for like Andy, his 21 Guns cover that he did way back when, because I used to have the CD, but it was stolen from me, unfortunately. As well as Beyond My Reach, which was originally the, I believe, Warped 2017 CD exclusive to like Target. And like there's certain songs here and there that have been only listenable on like YouTube or SoundCloud or whatever because it's been re-uploaded, what have you. But if you're able to support them in an official way, please do so. They definitely deserve it. This album deserves it. And if you can't and you do miss out on all of the bonus tracks, don't feel too discouraged. They are still out there in whatever way that you're able to hear them. And I will admit, they don't make or break the album. It's cool to have them. As a fan, I love them. You don't need them though, so don't get too discouraged. All that to say though, they are amazing, and I've actually been wearing Black Veil shirts and playing the album since launch as much as possible because I just truly cannot get enough of it. And every time the album actually ends, I want to just instantly restart it. I try to have restraint and play something else, just like the tiniest bit, to make sure Spotify doesn't think that I'm a bot and actually counts my streams towards Vindicate. I don't really want them to be for nothing, you know? Like, I enjoy the album, but come on, I want them to be noticed. But it's been a wicked time sharing this album with my people, both in Sunrise and my friends, and as much family as I'm able to, anyone that really wants to listen, truthfully. And just showing off my love for this band, and truly feeling grateful and proud of this group of wicked artists and amazing dudes. I instantly downloaded all the bonus tracks as I mentioned, being the 3 covers and the cinematic version of Bleeders. I've got them all on my playlist, and it has been the way I've been listening since launch. I love it. Now, to get to the track list, I know I've rambled a very long time and haven't even talked about the track list, but I do want to just list it off here, which goes Invocation to the Muse, Vindicate, Certainty, Bleeders, Hallelujah, Cut featuring Lilith Czar, Alive, Purgatory Overture 4, Revenger featuring Machine Head, Sorrow, Grace Interlude, Ave Maria, Woe and Pain, Eschaton, then the bonus tracks, Bleeders Cinematic Version, Thank You for the Venom MCR cover, Death of Seasons AFI cover, and Black Number One, Little Miss Scare-All, Type O negative cover. So those are all the songs on the album, and I will have to say, my top 3 for the album, excluding singles, would have to be Sorrow, Ave Maria, and Woe and Pain. In no specific order. I could not put them in an order. Don't ask me to put them in an order. It is too hard. But those would be my top 3 for songs that were not singles. And as for my favorite singles, and this will be in order, obviously, as I've had a lot more time with them, I'd have to give it to Certainty, Vindicate, and Hallelujah. Those are my top 3, and I would say they're in order, at least I think they are. They might flip-flop here and there, as I know this album is going to sit with me. I'm going to listen to it a lot, more even than I already have, as I've probably listened to it at least well over 10, maybe 15 times. That 15 might be pushing it, I don't know, but I've been having it on not only just my Spotify, but YouTube on the computer at my other job, and like I've been playing it as much as possible, not just for myself, but for anybody to hear, because I do believe it deserves to be heard. So Black Veil Brides Vindicate, yes, the album that I've been mentioning, that I've been rambling about, is finally out, and I want to know what you think about it. Let me know in the comments below what your favorite song is, what you thought of the album. Do you think it's as good as I think it is, or what are your thoughts? Let me know down there in the comments below. And while you're there, please leave a like, share it with your friends, subscribe to not miss an episode, and again, thank you. It helps a lot, as always. I very much appreciate it. And all that to be said, just to kind of finish off the episode here, it's all I really wanted to talk about. But earlier in that week, I went to go see a concert in Edmonton. And I just wanted to wrap up with saying some final closing thoughts about that, because that concert honestly was awesome. I got to see Fit for a King with Acres. Acres was the main reason I went. They were the very first openers. And then, of course, there was 1056. That was the band I couldn't remember last time. Couldn't remember their name. And the right before Fit for a King was Invent Animate. So all that to be said, the concert was fantastic. I enjoyed it, enjoyed the hell out of it. The trip itself was fantastic as well. Made it to IKEA, got my vinyl shelf, finally got that all set up. Need to set up my record player still. Luckily, Vindicate for me has not come in yet. None of my packages have, but that's the joy of living in Canada when you buy something from the US or overseas, as I know some of the vendors that I bought things from are either from the UK or the US. So all that aside, though, the concert, that's the main focus of what I wanted to just kind of yap about for a little bit here. I went with my buddy Paul, as I go to many shows with him. Him and I have actually seen Fit for a King live together before, as well as Acres, I do believe, because they opened for Devil Wears Prada, if I'm not mistaken. So this is my second time seeing Acres live, and I do have to admit, this time was even better than the very first. They put on a wicked performance, so much so that they got a one more song chant. Yes, the opener got a one more song chant, which, dust off my shoulder here. I started that. Not gonna lie, I'm not just trying to toot my own horn either. I actually started that, and my buddy Paul, he actually told the singer and guitarist, because they were at the merch table after their set, that I started it, and they got a kick out of that. Something I got a kick out of was the guitarist, and apologies if it's the bassist. I don't know fully quite who is who yet. I don't know names, and I feel awful for it because I do love this band. I swear I do. But he actually looked at me and told me, I think you know more lyrics to Acres songs than I do. And he's one of the people that I at least know writes the songs or helps write them. So that was really cool to hear, like, validation, But the set that they put on was fantastic. I loved every second of it. They are hoping to headline Canada at some point, so maybe there will be a time soon. Fingers crossed it's soon that I'm able to see a headlining set, because again, I'd scream every single word right back to him, which I was actually able to during this set. The singer made eye contact with me, and held out his hand kind of thing, like, because he knew it was like right to me. And I'm not just saying, oh, it's the guy next to me. No, the person next to me was my friend Paul, who didn't know all the words, and the other person next to me didn't even know who they were. So he was pointing at me, undoubtedly, and that was amazing. It was awesome to get that. And then I got a photo. Was able to actually get a photo with them again, this time with Paul, and I'll probably try to post it on my socials, at Lights Monarch. Follow me on there if you want to see. And I post there every so often, as much as I can, even though it really is infrequent. I need to get better at that. But the show itself for them was great. Fit for a King was fucking, intense. Not to say 1056 was bad either, and Invent Animate, they put on a really good set as well, but for the Fit for a King set, I don't think I've really been a part of a mosh pit that is that violent. And this is saying something. Canada doesn't, yes, we go hard, very hard in the pit, but I don't remember a pit ever being that, rowdy. My shoe, for context, my shoe ripped. Completely, think hobo shoe. My toes were sticking out. The sole and shoe portion ripped. Luckily it stayed on my foot, so I had a shoe for the whole show, but man, that was rough. As well as, the sea of people all falling, we all fell to one side. I was literally on top of somebody. Without meaning to, I couldn't get up until somebody grabbed me and pulled me. And then it went the other way, and my buddy Paul fell down and someone fell on him. Talk about dangerous, but hell of a lot of fun. Luckily no one got hurt. They didn't have to stop the show, Everyone made it through flawlessly to what I know, and I just had to touch on the fact it was rowdy because holy fuck, I've been to a lot of shows at this point, like a lot, especially heavier shows, and that was one of the heaviest, rowdiest at least, shows I've ever been, especially pits that I've ever been a part of. And that's not even being in the mosh part of the pit. We were just in the pit. So, I mean, I wasn't complaining. I understand being in the pit, you're going to get sucked into some of that. It was just intense and hell of a fun time. Like, I had a blast. My poor shoes, though. Poor shoes. R.I.P. But all that aside, that's all I wanted to mention. Usually I go on about new releases and such, but I just really wanted to focus on the one new release, and that is Black Veil Brides Vindicate. That is the one and only release to me that came out this past week. I know that there were a couple others, like Movements released some new tracks from their newly announced album. Motionless in White and Corey Taylor released Playing God. I believe the Movement songs were Dissolve Me and Back in My Ways, as well as Hikaru Utada, the actual lady that sings Kingdom Hearts songs. She released something new in complete Japanese. Other than that, I know Talk released a song, but I know I say I'm only going to talk about Black Veil, but then I mention all the other ones. All that aside, though, I had them written down, so I felt like I should. But Black Veil Brides Vindicate, that's the one. That is the album. I can't believe it's finally here. Listening to it even still after hearing it so many times still just fills me like with joy and just absolute ecstasy of like, it is here. We're finally in it. The album is here. We're in the album release era, and I know it'll pass so soon, but I am just reveling in this feeling and the goosebumps that I feel listening to this album and actually physically get, like, it's unreal. So Black Veil Brides, you killed it. Absolutely wicked fucking album, and I cannot wait to hopefully, fingers crossed, see you guys live. Please come to Canada at some point, specifically Alberta. Would love it. Maybe if I have to, I will travel, but thank you. Thank you so much for this album, and to everyone listening, thank you for listening to all my rambles and just enjoying the album alongside me. So thank you so much for listening, and thank you for discovering the music within.